was just another ordinary day at my fairly peaceful school, until the tranquility shattered in a horrifying incident that sent chills down our spines. Little did we know, it would soon turn out to be a tale whispered through generations. It was the spring of the year 2005. I was just hanging out in the hallway with my friends, talking about the weekend ahead of us, when there was a startling scream. "Did you hear that?" I asked my closest friend. "Yeah. What was that?" Glancing in the direction of the source, we discovered a girl at the base of a short set of stairs, covered in blood and shocked. As we ran to her rescue, a simultaneous cry came out of our mouths and panic swept down the corridor. Her voice was shaking, hardly able to describe the horror she'd just been through, and her eyes were wide with fear. We discovered that she had lost one of her shoes in the tumultuous fall when we assisted her in standing up. Her face was covered with tears. Miss Jane, our math teacher, rushed out of the nearby room and started checking up on the injured girl. The girl with her shaky voice managed to say a few words before passing out. "There is a man with a battle rifle." The shockwave of the incident rippled through the school, prompting an immediate response from the authorities. Lockdown procedures were swiftly announced as the hunt for the assailant began. Fear and uncertainty gripped the students and teachers alike as we were confined to our classrooms, anxiously awaiting updates from the school officials. As the minutes stretched into hours during the lockdown, the once familiar surroundings of the school transformed into an eerie and tense atmosphere. Whispers echoed in the hallways, each creak and shuffle magnified in the silence. Me and some other students locked ourselves in a nearby classroom. "Let's barricade the door with the table," one of them shouted. We swiftly worked together to gather the tables around the door before hearing a loud shot piercing through the hallways. Everyone rushed to take shelter under and inside anything they could find. As the shots got louder, the screams around the room got clearer. It wasn't just one scream, but tens or even hundreds of voices suffering in utter pain. No one knew when the lockdown would be lifted, and the fear of the unknown clung to us like a suffocating fog. The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder with each passing second, amplifying the tension that had settled in our hearts. Suddenly, the sound of boots grabbed our attention, and we were relieved to hear the police announcing themselves near our door. Within the next few hours, police searched the school from top to bottom, but strangely, didn't find any intruder or anybody with a battle rifle. All the students were interviewed, and to everyone's shock, everyone heard gunshots, but no one was hurt. The girl, now in the safety of the school nurse's office, was interviewed by the authorities. Her harrowing tale sent ripples of fear throughout the student body, and soon the story found its way onto the school website, where the unsettling details were laid bare for all to see. The girl relieved her memories in the following way. "I was waiting alone in an empty classroom for my next class. We had an essay read, so I was practicing by myself when a mysterious figure, cloaked in a hoodie, entered the classroom. I immediately looked at the figure. 'Who are you?' I asked in a light tone. Without uttering a word, he started attacking me relentlessly with a sharp tool, each hit scratching open a portion of my flesh. I immediately fell to the floor. As I tried running away, I could see the figure loading his gun. In a desperate bid to escape the brutality, I fled from the classroom, sprinting through the hallways in a blind panic. Strangely, the whole floor was empty. As I ran, I looked back and saw the mysterious figure chasing after me. It was incredibly fast. As the figure closed in, I realized what that sharp tool was. It was its long set of nails that twisted into a broom-like shape. As the figure reached out its hands, I stumbled and fell, the short flight of stairs becoming an unexpected rescue to my frantic escape. Life in the little community of Sandridge, tucked away in the dry regions of New Mexico, progressed following custom and legend. On a normal Wednesday morning, the sun shone brightly over the town as students arrived at Sandridge High School. Little did they know that the day would soon turn into a chilling story that would stay with them forever. I was sitting at my desk, scribbling absently in a notepad, and there appeared to be an odd tension in the air. My dull routine was broken unexpectedly by the crackling intercom, turning the busy classroom completely silent. The head teacher called out, "Attention students and staff," as her voice passed through the hallways. "An urgent problem has arisen. Maria, a 16-year-old pupil, has disappeared. We think she's having a mental collapse and is hiding somewhere inside the school. Her parents are very worried about her. Everyone is expected to help in the search for Maria. Until further notice, the school is now under lockdown. It is not a drill." We felt a chill go down our spines when we heard the statement because of how serious the situation was. The familiar halls became a maze of confusion in a couple of seconds. Lockers clicked shut, and instead of the usual cacophonous banter, kids and instructors began to mumble nervously as they grouped themselves for the unannounced search. Sandridge High, usually a school filled with normal teenage troubles, turned into a bizarre battlefield of worry. Now, with everyone on campus actively looking for Maria, the parents also joined the search with their worrying presence. Determined to make a difference, my buddies and I split out into various areas of the school. With only the echo of our own footsteps to be heard in every classroom and hallway, the eerie quiet emphasized the gravity of our task. Soon after, some pupils in the poorly lit toilet discovered an unusual scenario. Maria was there, hunched up in a corner. Her eyes flashed rapidly around the room, wide with fear. She held a knife in her shaking palm, its shine frightening in the low light. The kids let out a collective gasp as they realized how serious the situation was. One of the pupils gently said, "Maria, it's okay," trying to defuse the situation. "We're here to help you." However, Maria's breathing remained irregular and her eyes remained full of paranoia. She gave voice to an abrupt, piercing scream and ran out of the bathroom, knife still in hand and ready to slash anyone on her way. After a brief moment of hesitation, the students started to pursue, their worry blending with an increasing feeling of fear. Their mad dash through the maze-like corridors left Maria more terrified. She staggered and collapsed as they rounded a corner, the knife clattering on the floor. The disturbance aroused authorities, who raced to the location and placed Maria under arrest before she could hurt anybody else. Later we learned that Maria was having treatments for schizophrenia, but the situation was getting out of hand. Maria believed that the students and teachers were trying to unalive her for some ritualistic practice. It was a disturbing experience for all the students involved. Middle school, a place of consistency and regularity, unexpectedly plunged into the depths of fear, leaving our teenage brains filled with terrifying memories. It was an ordinary day for me. I once again got scolded for not finishing my dish-cleaning chore from the previous night. On my way to school, Mom reminded me how I would have to finish the dishes once I came back home. The school days started out as usual, with the customary sounds of laughter resonating, lockers rattling, and lights hummed steadily. The routine was interrupted abruptly by an unexpected statement that broke the peace. "Staff attention. Please lock all doors. This is not a drill." Our confusion spread like wildfire until the sobering realization that there were active shooters in the boys' locker room. We were rushed into rooms as teachers tried to find ways to reason with the shooter or shooters. Lockdown procedures were quickly put into place, and our classroom doors closed, enclosing us in a stifling silence. The once familiar surroundings became a maze of terror as fear seeped into the air. Mrs. Whiteson, who was in the room, instructed us all to put the phones into silent mode to not bring any attention to our classroom. Everyone immediately put their phones to client mode, while some hurriedly sent a few words to their families. I sent my mom a quick voice message telling her how much I loved her and that if I ever saw her again, I would make sure to do my dishes and be a good son. While we were all feeling uneasy, a terrifying revelation struck. This was not training. This was a fight for survival behind the walls that we thought were our safe haven. Minutes passed by with agonizing slowness as the hours passed. The only sound in our temporary stronghold was muffled cries, and the absence of our lost friends became a warning of the horrors that were ahead of us. 2 torturous hours later, the booming sound of gunshots pierced the silence. Like a vice, panic tightened its hold, transforming the formerly safe classroom into a cocoon of fear. Terrifying text messages from other friends who were sheltering revealed a gruesome image. "The shooters are close by. Keep quiet." From the adjacent classroom, the anguished screams of a classmate echoed, a haunting symphony to accompany the relentless gunfire. As we held on to our lives, a loud bang proved our belief to be faulty. "Open the door," a voice screamed, and then proceeded to kick and shoot at the door to create an opening. Fearing for the inevitable, me and my friends took shelter inside the shelves, while some other students hid under the tables. I shut my mouth tightly with my hands, almost suffocating myself. My ears waited patiently for the tragedy that was about to unleash itself. Then a distant wail pierced the air, a chorus of sirens that brought both relief and dread. Police and SWAT teams stormed in, their arrival a blend of salvation and condemnation. The nightmare was concluding, but the scars etched on the canvas of our school were indelible. The aftermath unveiled a chilling toll: -530 injured and 12 lives extinguished like a meaningless flame. The once hallowed halls, now stained by the echoes of tragedy, bore the somber weight of mourning. As officers secured the premises, an oppressive silence descended, a haunting reminder of the pandemonium that had preceded it. In the aftermath, the remnants of that fateful day clung to the very fabric of our school. Tons of newspapers reported on the tragedy that shook the nation. However, no policies were made to prevent such incidents from sprouting. All those lives remained a tragedy. The days that followed were a blur of counseling sessions and attempts at healing. Nightmares, vivid and harrowing, invaded our sleep, imprinting the horrors of that day in our minds.